Hi, this is a requested video. The request is from Nelligan Baby and it's to do a rat cage tour. And this is the Liberta Explorer cage. So I'm going to be doing a review on this cage. As you can see, this is the cage in front of me. And both the ratties are in their Sputnik right now. Cookie is there and Sugar's just behind her, if you're wondering. Don't know whether you can see her. Nope, she's all snuggled inside the Sputnik. Oh well. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the pros of the cage and then go on to the cons. I think this is a really good request, another really good request, because it will help people think before they buy the cage whether they think it's the right cage for them or not. Because this is just my opinion on the cage, what I think of the cage. You don't have to listen to what I'm saying, but it could help people in some way if you're thinking of buying the cage. Which I think Nelligan Baby might be buying this cage, but she wants a review on it first, just to know about the cage and some features and some really good things about the cage. But I also do have to do cons, obviously. Everything has its cons. Anyway, I'll get on with the video. So, the best thing about this cage is obviously the size. It is really, really large. It's huge. Plenty of space on each level, so you can fit lots of toys inside the cage. There's also lots of bar space for your rats to climb as well, which is a really good thing in this cage. The best feature about this cage, in my opinion. All rats do need lots of space to run around and climb, and this cage definitely provides that and offers them so much space. So that's a really, really good thing about this cage. Just the size is amazing. And you can fit fairly large toys as well. Like this is a really large tunnel. We've got a fairly large medium tube. We've got this big hanging toys. Plenty of things in the cage that will fit nicely, and you still have plenty of space. And because that's how big the levels are, they are really, really big. So that's a great feature about this cage. In fact, it's so huge. Because you have also got your extra level within a whole tier as well. So you've got this whole level on here as well. Extra space, again, you can add things on there as well, which is brilliant. And yeah, it's just brilliant for space and toys, which is exactly what rats need. That's a great thing about the cage. That's a big, big pro of the cage. Another thing I love about this cage is the bars. The bars aren't actually too thick. They're quite thin because you can still fit little thin clips like that thin clip I'm showing you right now. It's just on the bar, which actually fits quite nicely. So I'm really happy about that. It's nice to hang little things on the cage. If you're into that sort of thing, and if you think your rats like it, then it's really nice to hang things like that. And the great thing about the bars is they do offer you that little bit of thinness to add the clip on. So you can have things and hang things like that. Also the roof of the cage, you can actually have two separate cages if you wanted. You could have a whole, just a whole barred grid on top of the roof, basically a roof, and have it as a separate cage. Say for example your rats had a fight, then you have two cages. You'd have one up there and you'd have one down here. And you wouldn't have a hole here obviously because you wouldn't want them getting to each other. But you could easily have the barred roof, so basically they're split, so you have two cages. Also, because it's barred on the top, you can hang things, which is brilliant. You can see over there we have the Scrabble net hung up, just on the top there, and again they're really strong. I'll go into the strength of the cage actually in a minute, but it just hangs lots of things, so it allows you to hang lots of things as well for the rats, which is brilliant. You also have extra space, so from the level you could hang things all the way to the side of the cage, which is, you can see here, we've just got the interactive bird toy, which the rats love going on. So that's a great thing about this cage, the fact the bars are really, well, basically on top of here, so you can hang things, and they're also a good width, so you can actually clip on things, even the thinnest of clips as well. That's a great thing about the cage as well. So it's fairly easy to, I was going to say set up then, it's not fairly easy to set up, but it's fairly easy to clip on things on the cage. So that's a great thing about it. Another thing about the cage is I'm now going to go on to the quality and the strength of the cage. Now the quality is actually very, very good. This is actually hammered metal, so it's basically metal that has been hammered, it's within the name, but it's very strong metal, so it's really sturdy and it's going to be able to hold heavy items in the cage, and hopefully without tumbling down and crashing. It will stay strong and still. Obviously if you've not put the nails in properly, then it probably will fall down, but if you have it all built properly with the bolts and nails in and things, then it should be fine. And it's a really strong metal, so it should hold plenty of things in the cage without breaking or falling or anything like that. So it's great with the strength as well. Of course, another best feature of the cage, I'm just going to show you now. Hopefully the doors will shut. There we go. Is the big doors. I absolutely love the doors. They're amazing. I just love the fact that they open the whole way. I'll show you now. So you have basically 100% access into the cage. They open the whole way, and that is absolutely fantastic in my opinion. So you can basically get anywhere in the cage. Obviously you'll have toys getting in the way, but it's much better than a smallish door, especially the old cage I used to have. It was absolutely poor access. You couldn't hardly get in the cage, and I'd sometimes cut myself from the sharp cage bit of the door, which really hurt. But I'm not going to go into that cage. I'm going about this cage, and the doors are really, really big. So it just opens the whole way. You basically have all this access to get into the cage, which is brilliant. And especially if you're bonding with the rats and you wanted to tame them, you have more of a chance of taming them quicker because you have so much access to get to them as well. So that's a really good, best feature of the cage as well. It also has a really good escape quality proof as well. So the escape proof sort of build, you have this good strong latch, and the great thing about this latch is it unlocks in a certain way, so you have to slide it across here and then slide it up and then push it down to unlock the whole cage, which I don't think rats, they may be really clever, but I don't think they'd be able to work that out. They don't have little hands they can just do that with. And no rat has actually been known to escape out of this cage, so it is obviously 100% escape proof at the moment. So that's a really good escape proof feature. That is basically, you know, they can't really work out how to unlock the door, so it will stay nice and still and they won't be able to unlock it or anything or escape. And then you also have this extra latch on the top here, which basically stops the doors from opening, because if you have it, if you take off the latch, you can basically push the doors open and you have that massive gap underneath, which rats obviously will easily be able to get out of there and escape. So with that latch, that basically stops the rats from escaping. You basically have the latch slide over like that, and that basically keeps the doors put. They can't go flying forwards and the rats can't escape then. So it's another great escape proof feature as well. So that's a really good thing about the cage. So they are most of the pros of the cage. Yeah, they're my best pros of the cage. The size, the quality of the metal, the space, all the other things I've just mentioned about doors and the escape proof of the cage as well. It's a really, really good, brilliant cage. So now I'm going to go on to a few cons of the cage. Now obviously because of the size, yes, there is a lot to clean. Obviously there's plenty of things to clean this cage. The bars, the levels, everything just needs cleaning. So it does take at least 2, sometimes 3 hours to clean this whole cage because it's so big and so huge. And if you're not a big fan of cleaning cages, you know, spending hours and hours cleaning cage, then I'd probably recommend this cage for you, because you're going to have a big long time just cleaning this cage. It does take quite a while to clean. Also takes quite a while to build as well, because it did take at least an hour per tier. So it took 2 hours for these 2 levels, and it took 15 minutes to set up the stand as well. So basically 2 hours and 15 minutes, around that sort of length of time. So it does take quite a while to set up. You do need at least 2 people to set this up. It would be impossible to set it up without 2 people, because you do need someone to hold the frame still while someone's nailing it in. So it does need to be the right direction as well. You don't want to go slightly tilted, otherwise you'll nail it tilted and it won't be straight. So it does take quite a while to build in a good straight way as well, which it did take. Me and my dad built this. It did take us quite a while, but it was really worth it. Also, another thing, going on back onto cleaning, the actual plastic material of the cage is actually not a very nice material. It's quite a smudgy material. So what I mean is it won't actually dry as easy. Each time I try and wipe it down and try and dry it after cleaning it, it usually doesn't dry. When I wipe it down with a towel or something, it doesn't dry. It basically smudges the plastic and it still's quite wet, so I have to basically leave it to air dry most of the time and come back quite a while later until it is dry. But that isn't usually a big problem, but it can be quite... Sorry, my camera just cut out then, sorry about that. Anyway, I was just saying, basically the plastic levels are just really hard to dry. They're quite smudgy, and each time we try and dry them down, they don't dry as easy. They're quite wet and smudgy. So that's really annoying. The drying down the levels each time is really annoying. So that's a big con for me. Another con, this for most people, is the price of the cage. Now, it is quite expensive. It does cost £170, so it is quite expensive, but I think, in my opinion, for what you get is amazing. You know, you get a really huge, large cage, you get 2 whole tiers, plenty of room for your rats, and I think about my rats rather than me. I think more about my rats rather than what I want. I would want my rats to be happy in this cage. If I was to buy them anything else. This is their cage, this is what it is, and I'm really happy with the price for what you get. Value for money. So yeah, it's a really, really good cage, and it is worth that price, but some people unfortunately can't afford that sort of price, so you might have to save up to get to this cage. I'd save up an awful lot to buy this cage. But I did get it after all. I did save up quite enough, and that was really good, so I managed to get it. And I got it from Cage's World website, which is a brilliant website. I do recommend go checking on that website. They have some really nice rat cages, especially this one's on there, and that's what it was. It was £170. Postage was free as well, so it's free delivery, and yeah, it was really, really good price in my opinion. And one last con I'm going to say is that the doors, whenever the rats climb all over the cage, they always have this nasty rattling sound. It's really loud and bangy, and the whole time it feels like there's a crash going on through here sometimes when I'm in my bedroom. So it is quite annoying and irritating hearing that sound constantly, that crashing sound against the door. The rats constantly, you know, they jump and climb all over the doors, so they do make a lot of noise. So it's very, very noisy. That's a really big con for me as well. I think what they could have done is had like a little latch down here to stop the doors from moving, so they stay still, because that way you wouldn't have any problems with the doors rattling or anything. They could climb over the doors and there'd be no rattling because they're still. But unfortunately it's not like that. It's got the rattle, and as you can hear, you probably can't hear it as well, but it is quite loud in real life, so that can be really annoying, the sound levels. So yeah, it's very noisy. But yeah, other than that, it's a brilliant cage. I'd recommend it for any rat owner. It just offers your rats so much space, and you can fit plenty of things in this cage. That's probably the best thing about this cage. Just the fact it's so spacious, and there's plenty of things you can fit in the cage for your rats. Your rats will love it. The bar height is really good. They can climb all over this. It's brilliant for them. Maybe another con would be the size of the cage, because the size is quite big. Some people can't fit big cages in their houses, so maybe that's another, you know, another con. Luckily I have this spare room, which I'm planning to get so far. I'm going to have lino on the floor and plenty of little rat plants in here, and probably repaint the walls as well, or get some posters up and things, make it nice, like a nice proper rat room. That would be really nice. So yeah, but there's not a problem of space for me. This is a perfect spot for it, and it's away from the window. The window is over here, but it's not actually, you know, right next to the rat cage. And yeah, so there we go, that's the review. I really hope it helped anyone out there who's interested in buying this cage. It is really worth the money, value for money. It's a brilliant cage. I do recommend it for many rat owners, and I really hope it helped anyone who's interested in this cage. Yeah, I just really hope this review really helped you consider whether you're going to buy it or whether you're not sure, but I do hope I helped. And also I really hope I helped you, Nethergund baby, if you're going to buy this cage or not. So yeah, that's my review anyway. Thank you for requesting this video as well. I really enjoyed making it, and I think it was a really good request to do. So if you have any comments or questions, just leave them down below. If you haven't seen my channel, or if you like my channel, please subscribe. And if you like this video, please like. Bye!